Joining me now, journalist and host of the Megyn Kelly Show, which you can catch on Sirius XM Triumph Channel 111 every weekday at noon Eastern. You can also find her at youtube.com/Megyn Kelly. I can't believe they haven't banned her yet for actually speaking the truth. All right, Megyn, forgetting all the mental health issues and things like that right now, journalism, because you are one of the few journalists left in this daggone country. How did it get to such a despicable state where you have headlines like this Reuters article blaming Christians for the shooting? It's gotten to such a state that when someone calls it the enemy of the people, that starts to resonate. They look like the enemy of the people most of the time now, Megyn. They really do. And I don't remember it being like that when I was a kid, but maybe it was.
No, they've chosen to lean in. I remember when Trump was saying that during, his campaign, thinking, no. I mean, they're getting there, but no. And now they're really leaning in on it. And it wasn't all during Trump that this happened, but he really exploded it. I mean, him calling out the media on their bias led them to embrace their bias. It happened very rapidly and in a very disturbing way and in a short amount of time. So it was already going this way, Jesse. I mean, I remember years ago, before Trump, maybe 2010, 2011, talking with Bernie Goldberg. Remember, he used to come on and be a media commentator on Fox. And he was talking about sort of the policing of words. It used to be more about the policing of words back then, and where the media would show, like, we're better than you are. We'll tell you how to speak properly so that you're not an offensive person. And the story of the day was you weren't allowed to say the word midget. And Bernie said midget. And I said, you can't say midget. And he said, why not? I'm like, I don't know. Whoever makes the rules now says you can't say that. And he said, midget, 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 midget. Then I had my own experience. You'll appreciate this as my fellow Kelly, where I was doing a hit on Fox and Friends. And I said, and they took him away in the paddy wagon. It turns out you can't say paddy wagon. I'm like, why can't you say paddy wagon? It's offensive to the Irish. In response to which I said, those are my people. We don't get offended at anything. We're impossible to offend. But apparently it's about all the paddies who got drunk and get taken. All right, so those things were all happening, 10, 15 years ago. And then it got worse and worse and worse. And then during Trump, who was, the king of, I don't care how you want me to talk, I'm going to talk the way I want, everyone recoiled in horror on steroids and leaned into wokeness. And the whole movement was starting separate and apart from him. And now we're worse than ever. And so they've not only embraced their bias, they've embraced their elitism and their perceived role as the arbiters of all morality, which means governing people like you and me, the losers of the world, the people who didn't go to Harvard, who wouldn't come to their cocktail parties, and who are on, things like the internet as opposed to NBC nightly news, right? Those are the folks who think there are betters. And I know, because I can speak to this from the inside, with the people with the glasses down at their end of their nose who just think they know better. And they're going to tell Americans how to live, whether it comes to their religion, how they feel about their country, how they feel about their family, how they feel about these very controversial issues, whether it's BLM or the crazed trans activists who need to be fought, not embraced. We see it at every turn.
Megyn, did these people lead us into being a nation that is pillow soft, where people get their feelings hurt by things like paddy wagon, or are they the result of a nation that has gotten soft? It blows me away. Maybe it's because I had a very stern, hard father. I know people will find that shocking, but it blows me away how often I see even the elite talk about their feelings and how this hurts my feelings and I'm triggered and my feeling. Who gives a crap about your feelings? But the feelings lead this nation now. What came first? Was it chicken or the egg?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer, but I actually believe, maybe it's my background that biases me, I do think the media has a disgustingly unhealthy role in it. I mean, I watch the media do this and push it because they're in bed with these elite academic circles where it's happening, like these college campuses where this all got started. And they need the approval of those institutions. They're dying for their children to go to those colleges. They wish they had gone to those colleges if they didn't, and most of them did. And that is a sort of cocktail party circuit that people like Chief Justice Roberts are still on, which explains a lot of what happened to him once he hit the U.S. Supreme Court bench. They get sucked into this very informed, very cultured, very snobbish group that actually thinks they're better and then gets off on putting down middle America, actually laughs in their face because they think they're too stupid to understand what's good for them. Look at that infamous Don Lemon segment, with Wajahat Ali and Rick Wilson that went so viral during the Trump, where they were like, Ukraine, they couldn't find Ukraine on a map if they had a crane or whatever it was, mocking them. So I think there's a contagion between those two circles. And back to the point of journalism, it's one of the reasons why, Jesse, we're supposed to be adversarial with the people we cover. We're not supposed to get in bed with the elite circles. We're supposed to be antagonizing them, not loving them and openly protecting them, which is what a lot of the reporters today think they're supposed to do.
Megyn, when I reference things like that Reuters headline, it makes me feel like something terrible is coming, not just from the left, from the right, because societies always seek a balance. I have said this several times. I think there is a right-wing dictator coming in this nation at some point in our future. Not tomorrow, it's not Donald Trump or whatever, but I believe it is coming, because when you continue to attack people the way the media does, eventually you're going to have somebody rise who will say things like, I'm going to arrest that journalist and I'm going to throw him in prison for that opinion. That sounds crazy. It's anti-free speech. And it is crazy and it is anti-free speech. But those words are not going to fall on deaf ears one day, Megyn, because of this level of activism. There will be a response, and probably a horrible one.
Look at the number of videos that circle around on Twitter right now of Black people committing crimes or violence. Why is that happening at such an alarming rate? It's not that the Black crime rate has skyrocketed. It's that people are feeling uncomfortably defensive about accusations being made about groups like white cis males. White cis males are the problem. White supremacy is the fundamental problem plaguing America. And so people start tweeting videos that they would never tweet before to say, like, are they? Really? And it makes you uncomfortable, and I don't think it's healthy. I don't do it myself, and I see why it's happening. It's, if you push a group of people up against a wall over and over and over and take away the opportunity for fair play, not just from them, but from their children as well, eventually they get tired of being in the fetal position, just saying, I'm sorry, I'm bad, I'm sorry, I'm bad. And they feel the need to push back on the narrative, and then they feel the need to fight back. That's what's so dangerous about this disgusting, pernicious ideology they're shoving down our throats when it comes to, yes, race, yes, gender, but our country, our religion, ourselves, right? That we are somehow fundamentally bad. Just looking at you as a man and your skin color, you're the problem. I can tell that before you open your mouth. What does that do to a person? Where do they think it's going to land?
Yeah, there's always a pushback.
Support the First TV today and get instant access to exclusive specials like Who is Ron DeSantis, the history of FBI scandals, and America's worst presidents. Visit thefirsttv.com/support or download the First TV app to become a supporter and start watching today.